Originally released in 1987, Taito's The Ninja Warriors was the second multi-screen arcade release, following on from Darius. Spanning across 3 arcade monitors, the game gave players an amazing widescreen view that still impresses even today. Unfortunately, due to the odd screen resolution, it's not really possible to play the Ninja Warriors how it was intended, without building a custom display rig. This is why the game looks so narrow, even when played on a modern widescreen TV. The aim of the game is to bring down the evil dictator by taking control of one of the Ninja Warriors, who are actually robots. Unfortunately, the amount of moves available are severely lacking. Basically, all you can do is walk left and right, jump and slash out with your sai. Oh yes, you also have a limited number of shurikens as well. So to be honest, the Ninja Warriors is a pretty mediocre game at best, but it does have some great tunes. Never leaving Japan, this PC Engine port takes quite a hit in the graphical department. The background detail is not only lower, but also the amount of variety is much lower, making the areas repeat as you progress through the stages. The music is also quite weak. I'm sure something better could have been achieved on the PC Engine. These shortcomings could be overlooked though, if the game was fun to play, but sadly it's not. The controls work just fine, but you only get 3 continues, and you are sent back to the beginning of the stage every time you die. This makes the game way too difficult and, to be honest, pretty impossible to complete for the average gamer. Since the console ports of Ninja Warriors never left Japan, Western players had to put up with the European home computer ports. Amazingly, this Amiga version uses 2 action buttons. Yes, that's right, 2! So the gameplay is more like it should. The graphics are also pretty good and capture the arcade look really well, but where's the in-game music? They could sample the main theme, Daddy Milk, for the opening but not for the actual game? I think I know why. As you progress through the stages, the game is constantly loading data from the floppy disk, sort of how modern consoles constantly access CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays or a hard disk drive. The Atari ST port is pretty much the same as the Amiga version, but now with a much more weaker sounding rendition of the main theme. Again, there's no in-game music, which really takes away a lot of the appeal when it comes to playing. The Commodore 64 port may be missing any sort of introduction, but it's actually a lot of fun to play. The controls are really nice and fluid and act as you'd expect. There are some compromises though. Since only one fire button can be used, your ninja will use its shurikens at random depending upon how far away from the enemy you are. This isn't such a bad point though, since you could always cheat with infinite shurikens like I'm doing. A special mention must go to the music, it's fantastic. Again, the C64's SID chip delivers the goods. Strangely though, Stage 2 uses sound effects and no BGM. Very odd. Here we go with the Amstrad port, and it's awful. Yes, the rendition of the main Ninja Warriors theme is pretty good, but again there's no in-game music, but that's not the biggest issue. For a start, the graphics don't look anything like the Ninja Warriors arcade. Add the awful slow gameplay, laggy controls and repetitive AI, and you have yourself the worst version of all.
No one could maintain the public order. The evil dictator, Bungler, controlled not only the police, but also the underground world. Drugs, murder, sex. He held the key to everything since he became the president. Mulk, who was the leader of the revolutionists, built 2 assassination machines to kill the president. They were called the Ninja Warriors.
Finally, we reached the best home port of the Ninja Warriors to be made. While this Mega CD version doesn't look as good as the arcade, it certainly looks better than the PC Engine version. It also plays better because now you can assign the jump to an actual button rather than pressing up on the D-pad. The game comes complete with the arcade soundtrack and an all new arranged soundtrack which you can hear now. Being a CD based game, Taito have added a little extra in the way of a prologue story, which features members of Zuntata, Taito's sound team, acting out the plot in a seedy cyberpunk detective style. It's incredibly cheesy, but it's well worth a watch, at least once. Best of all, it's narrated, badly, in English. There was also a Japanese only mobile phone version of the Ninja Warriors. I do actually own this, but it no longer runs, because once a Japanese phone is switched off from making calls, you can't access any of the phone's features either. Really dumb, and it's not possible to unlock them either. So the best I can offer are a few screenshots. The game played really well since Japanese phones had decent D-pad controls. All the arcade levels were present, as was the music too. It's a real shame I can't get this to run anymore.
The Ninja Warriors.
I did originally plan on including the ZX Spectrum port, but no emulators would run any of the 4 ROM images I have past the title screen. So here's a Specky's rendition of Daddy Milk instead.